Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Swampmasher. This was a vehicle first released in 1988, was also available in 1989, and unfortunately was discontinued in 1990. So we have a single seat kind of march vehicle here. Kind of an interesting design in a lot of regards. Um, kind of, I will term it as a precursor to what we usually end up happening in swampier areas here in the hinterlands, and I'm sure down south as well. Um, where today we're putting tracks on, and the idea here is you're going to have three different rotating wheels. So if you hit a log or something, it can kind of roll over and then get you onto the next one. Where today we're using tracks to do the same thing. So a 1980s view at the very same thing we're doing today with our UTVs and all that, except, like I said, we're using tracks. And I know that my local town here, they're looking for to help generate some funds for our fire department because of covering you know some of the farmlands and marshlands and all that stuff that we have in my neck of the woods. So uh, you know these are putting the tracks on is today's solution to this idea from way back in 1988. So it's an interesting concept. Obviously, it's got some merit to it because, like I said, we're using tracks on this today. So we have a nice rear view. This is only a one-seater, but we do have spots for, like always, someone to sit on the bumper and just kind of tag along. Uh, Very much like having a UTV with this thing because it is just a small single-seat vehicle, and getting everything out of here. Now, the funny thing is of course we have two rockets or missiles, whatever you want to call them. You can use that term either way, not a problem there. And then this is supposed to be a 20 millimeter cannon on the top here, and of course I, bringing it into our kind of cartoonish look of G I Joe into our Star Wars role playing game. I did make it a laser cannon as always. I think that really fits. Of course, when we do watch the cartoon, they're always shooting lasers anyhow. So we kind of go from there. So we have some nice box art. We get to see the Swamp Masher here, and of course you see uh, was a hardball in the back here, and I can't think of who's in the front. So and of course we have our two surface to surface missiles, and then we have our laser gun. Although in the schematics it says that it is a 20 millimeter cannon. So that's what I was kind of basing it off of. Of course, anytime that I get a real cannon, I'm going to try and turn it into some sort of laser weapon because it fits for the cartoon and for trying to bring it into like a Star Wars universe or Star Wars G.I. Joe feel, or just keeping the feel of just running in the uh, cartoon series, anyways. It really fits a little bit better. Now, unfortunately, there's easily broken or lost pieces. That is the cannon and the bombs of the Swampmasher. They're unfortunately easily lost or commonly missing. Swampmasher was featured in trading cards, comic books, and cartoons. Here is the picture for the cartoon, or for the commercial, I'm sorry. Um, and like I said, it's not much different from what we look at today, being a single seat UTV, except it's got the three wheels here, which today we're using tracked vehicles. And we're still able to go about like 40, 45 miles an hour with a lot of these. So it's not really slowing them down. And the other fun thing to think about, it was only $3.99 way back in 1988. Okay, so bringing this into our G.I. Joe uh, line here, and actually I'm looking at it. I kind of goofed up on the length here, so let's try and change this down here. Um, I'm going to go about 10 feet, so I think that's what 3 meters ish. Um, Kind of keeping it in line with kind of our UTV kind of feel, um, somewhere along that line. Okay, so we do have a crew of one. So we do have the one seat. We have the engine back here. We have two passengers. Of course, we have the two people hanging off the back. I figured about 100 pounds of cargo, so roughly about 45 kilograms, given about a one half coverage here. So, you know, 50-50 chance you're going to hit the machine or you're going to hit the driver. And of course, it's going to be ground altitude, maneuverability. I've always been generous with a lot of the vehicles for the most part, so I'm keeping it as a 2D. Move, we're going to say it's going to go about 30 miles an hour or 48 kilometers an hour. I think that works out correctly. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. Body strength, when you look at the schematic, it does say it's got reinforced armor on it, so at speed or scale, maybe 4D, maybe I should only keep it at 3D. So why don't we just change it down to a 3D? Thinking about it, uh, so we'll just kind of go from there. So uh, we do have the laser cannon or 20 millimeter, whatever you want to call it, and I listed it as a medium laser cannon, speed or scale. I didn't want to get too um, overdoing it for the weapon, seeing it as such a small vehicle. Um, Fire control, actually, 'cause, I borrowed the stats and says, oh, okay, well, here's another one of my medium lasers, so I'll just bring that over. I don't think we want to have. I think we're just going to have a 1D for fire control, um, and we'll just kind of go from there because I think this is going to be a little ungainly, and maybe my maneuverability should be down a little bit too. I think maybe our maneuverability with wheels like this, yeah, you can traverse, but I think it's going to be a little harder steering. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Just kind of second guessing myself at this point. But we'll have the fire control at 1D. The damage is going to be at 6D. And I have two concussion missiles. Now, I did mention before, I'm going to start leaving it as just like concussion missiles. You can shoot them. I don't care, air to air, air to surface. I don't care how you want to shoot them. Just leaving it as more of a generic. Let's just shoot them and then, see what we do. I do have a fire control of 2D. Um, and again, now I'm second guessing myself because it really it's based off of the front of the vehicle. How about if we do this? We're going to do a 0D plus one because you're going to have to really maneuver the vehicle to the right spot here. And I don't remember hearing anything about them being heat seeking. They were just surface to surface. So we'll just kind of go with there. And it is a damage of 7D. So we do have some damage there. It's got a little bit of teeth. And for our swampy areas, so there's a part of me that says that this would be a good vehicle for maybe um, like the Tiger Patrol or something like that. Because I look at the Tiger Patrol being like in an island or marshy area, something like that. But definitely someplace that's going to be a marshy area. It's got some teeth. It's got some viability here. I think on your general roads or general battlefields, not so much. But you know, again, and I've mentioned this before. I think if you're going to do GI Joe as a role playing game for anyone, and seeing that we do have someone else doing a role playing game off of GI Joe, you're going to have your general Joe base, and then you're going to have small pockets that are going to specialize in their area. So I look at Tiger Patrol probably being in an island setting. They're going to have more of the boats. Sky Patrol, obviously, they're going to be patrolling a little bit more of the air. Um, we have, what is it, the Night Patrol or something? I think it's called Night Patrol. Um, and they're going to be somewhere else. And then you could have whatever. And I know that in the DIC, they had like the Eco Warriors and Eco Troops or whatever. There again, it's in different areas, whatever you want to call it. So my suggestion is instead of grabbing the base characters that are going to be at main Joe base, say Alpha, whatever you want to call it, the pit, the whatever, depending on what bracket you're looking at GI Joe as being in, depending on if you read the comics or watched a cartoon, or you just watched the live action movies. However, you're getting into GI Joe and how you want them to have their bases and all that. I think you're going to have small outlying bases. And if you have your group as being the new formation of a small base taking care of whatever, and you can always have Destro or Zartan or any of them come in from time to time in your area of operation and some of their troops, you know, you have your specialized machines and your favorite type of equipment to work with. And I think that works the best. So keeping that in mind in those regards. So, so if you have a group that's in a swampy area, like the APC would be good. Here, this Swampmasher would be great. Um, a nice favorite of mine is always going to be the killer whale. Something like that. Stuff that would work in marsh areas as well as possibly over land. But depending on what your area of, or your theater of operation or area, however you want to term it, um, you know, you and your group figure out what you have and where you want to go. I think that works really well. So, with that, thank you so very much for stopping by. It's always great having you around. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.